to our next topic, guys. We have our next guest of the game. We have Conor. Conor, how you doing?
Doing well. How about you guys?
Doing great, man. And we're going to talk about Atlanta potential. There have been rumors the last couple of weeks of Atlanta potentially getting another shot at a hockey team. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it'd be great for the city. I believe the rumor is that the arena will be in a better part of town over in the Alpharetta area, so that'll be definitely be a better place to have an NHL team play rather than downtown in the city.
Oh, North Fulton, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's right on the edge between
yeah,
Forsyth and Fulton, so I believe that that'll be
yeah, I
definitely a
know where
better
that
area.
is. I have some friends there.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be and the practice facility is rumored to be the cooler, which would be right close to where the arena would be, and we're talking about renovating it as hopefully within the next few months they're going to be getting those renovations underway.
Okay.
Now, Atlanta has had two hockey teams already, the Atlanta Flames and the Atlanta Thrashers.
Yep.
What makes you think that a third team is what the city needs and will succeed?
Well, I think it all comes down to ownership. You had the first time with the Flames where you had an owner who wanted to own the team, but his business went bankrupt, so he had to sell the team in order to get money. The second time around, you had the Thrashers sold to an ownership group who only wanted, in order to buy the Hawks and Phillips Arena, they had to buy the Thrashers as well. And they ever since they bought the Thrashers as well as the Hawks and Phillips Arena, they wanted to sell the team immediately. So and they didn't really care whether the team left the city or remained in the city, but they just wanted to get rid of them. And I guess if they had to choose one, they preferred the team left the city because they didn't want them to be a tenant at the arena.
Right.
Hmm.
So, after the failed two teams, and there been really a say that hockey does not work in the Deep South, like, and that was just one of the examples of it. And then obviously for the past few years until the Panthers and the Lightning started getting good again, that they did not have a good crowd. Do you think it's that true that the Deep South it doesn't work for hockey?
Well, I don't think it's true. I just think it really comes down to are the owners really do they care enough to develop the team and the DM and the GM are they going to put in forth the effort to get good players on the ice? And I can see how, as a Canadian game, obviously, how maybe fans up north might not think it might not work down south, but I think it really matters about do you have personnel who care about developing a team. And obviously, the average fan, if the team is struggling or if they don't really care about developing their product on the ice, they're not going to show up to games. And as you see teams like the Lightning, you've won several Stanley Cups recently, and I mean, they pack the arena every night because they want to see a great team perform.
Thomas, do you have anything else?
I mean, like I said, obviously the NHL is looking to expand. I mean, we had the Vegas team that started a few years ago, then we got the Kraken in Seattle. So, as those teams are doing pretty well for themselves, and hopefully in Atlanta it gets a little better since obviously back in 2011, 2012, the city hasn't in the area hasn't been really that grown, but now it's like one of the fastest growing areas in the country. So maybe that's going to help along with, like I said, Atlanta's growing and there will probably be more tourism there. So probably you're probably more better off this time because Georgia's in a lot better state than it was in the past decade.
Yeah, I agree. And you have a lot of transplants who've moved like up north, places like New York and other northern states like Connecticut. They moved down south, and obviously that'll help in the metro area specifically. So you'll have more people who are more likely going to watch hockey than you did in 2011. Not that there weren't people, but you have more people from up north who understand the game and they'll come down and most likely watch their team or become a fan of the new team. And I just think it's right now Atlanta and Houston, especially their metro areas have grown tremendously over the past decade or so. So it just makes sense to have teams there in order for the NHL to make the revenue that they want to.
Yeah. Um, so I had one more question. The Atlanta so I thought the Atlanta Thrashers were pretty good. I thought maybe they could stick around. You said a problem with ownership. Um, the attendance wasn't very good. But I thought they were still kind of collecting in enough money to stick around. Other than ownership, what made them leave, you think?
Well, it was that was mainly that reason that the owners just didn't really care. I mean, you saw in the Thrashers' final year in Atlanta, the attendance went down mainly because fans mainly were they kind of said, "Oh, like what? Why should we go to a game if we had of owners who don't even want to own the team and not want to kind of develop them?" And they were kind of stuck in this position where they were kind of competitive, but not necessarily a playoff team in their final year. So you had um, fans, their attendance was still decent. I mean, they were ahead of, I believe in their final year, they were ahead of the Islanders and Coyotes, two notable ones, and I believe there were a few others in their final year. But it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad either to the extent that it was that it had anything really to do with the fans. It had more to do with the owners really wanting to develop the team again, as I said, and really wanting to have if they wanted to find in um, a solution in Atlanta, they would have found someone, but they didn't really invest time to make that happen.
Mhm. Now there could be other cities for NSL teams like maybe Portland or cities like that. What do you think makes Atlanta a great fit for one?
Well, as I said, I believe Houston is the same way, just the amount of people that have grown. I mean, I think Portland would definitely support an NHL team. But it just matters, I think, matters more to the NHL as the size of the market, and Atlanta and Houston in particular kind of blow Portland out in that sense that in terms of the TV market and how they can build new arenas, or in Houston's case, they could play at the Toyota Center. And obviously, you have over the past decade or so, you have in Atlanta and Houston, especially, you had um, really for any sport in that matter, you've had fans draw out like the Falcons and Hawks. You've seen attendance go up, and those since Atlanta United soccer, they've been selling out a lot of their home games. So it's just, I believe, at this point, both those cities are just ready to host an NHL team again.
Yeah, definitely. With NSL coming to Atlanta again, it'll be fun. I'm pretty sure the attendance will go up. We're about to wrap it up here. Conor, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Have a good one.